Back of the bus, back at it again with another episode with your boy, Marcus Too Raw. And your boy Josh, aka JTG. Definitely got a special guest here with us today. Talk more about Recast T'Challa, and he goes by the name of John Paul.
What's up, everyone?
Thank you for coming on to the pod with us to talk about, the article that you wrote about possible options for recasting T'Challa. So if you could, go ahead and introduce yourself and, talk a little bit more about the article.
All right. As you all heard, my name is John Paul. I'm a graduate of Georgia Southern University with a bachelor's in writing and linguistics, minor in film studies. And ever since Kevin Feige announced that T'Challa would not be recast, I've obviously been going hard for hashtag recast T'Challa. And recently I wrote an article like a month ago detailing on how Marvel can go about recasting him in the future after I saw the show Loki. They're dealing with the multiverse right now with the whole variant thing, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is how they can still use T'Challa in the MCU. So wrote a whole article detailing on how they can go about it.
So one of the things when I was reading your article, because it's very detailed, and you do hit a lot on a lot of the common points that people who are detractors of the recast crowd commonly bring up. Is it disrespectful to Chadwick? What about Shuri? The grief of losing Chadwick Boseman. Are they ready to see another Black Panther? All of those kind of things, right? You easily parry a lot of those. The one thing that stands out to me, though, in the case of it being a variant to T'Challa, right? Like one of the Loki variants, is that if it ends up being that, if it ends up being a variant to T'Challa, right? We were talking about this before we started. It doesn't feel like they are truly invested in digging into the lore or the history of T'Challa, but more so as a vast scope of Wakanda, right? That's what they're trying to make the Black Panther franchise is. So if it ends up being a variant T'Challa, how much of that ends up being fleshed out? What we still wanted from T'Challa, right? We're talking about, we wanted Storm, we wanted T'Challa versus Namor, like all of T'Challa versus Doom, all of the top stories in this character's history. Are we going to get that from a variant? If they've already chosen, or we think they've chosen to elevate Letitia Wright or Shuri as the main Black Panther, how much of that do we get fleshed out with a variant then?
First of all, I think if they do bring in a variant, I think we can still get the whole T'Challa and Storm romance, especially since it's a different T'Challa. You really can't continue on the whole T'Challa and Nakia romance.
Yeah.
Along with T'Challa versus Doom, I think they can still do that. Unfortunately, it looks like they're going to do the Black Panther versus Namor thing with Shuri, but I still think a variant can be really fleshed out, because let's say they decide to bring in a variant of T'Challa for Black Panther 3. By that time, Shuri and the rest of the supporting characters, they'll already be established and fleshed out by then. So that way, if Ryan Coogler is still directing for that matter, they can dedicate more time to fleshing out the new T'Challa.
What do you think about the fact that they're super loading this movie with so many other titles? There are going to be, characters that are going to be fleshed out in Black Panther 2 that we've never seen before, right? I think Ironheart was supposed to get her TV show first. Is the TV show coming out before the movie?
No, actually, she's going to debut in Black Panther 2.
In Black Panther 2, I think she was supposed to debut on her show at first, and then they added her to the Black Panther 2 cast. Because when I originally looked at the shows, I thought Ironheart was up before Black Panther 2 on the schedule. I could be wrong. But even still, with them adding, there's talk of Falcon being in this movie and Monica Rambeau. So why do you feel as though they need to beef up the cast so much? I mean, the answer is obvious, right? Because there's no T'Challa, but how do you think that that's going to flesh out, I guess? How do you see that playing?
This is my first time hearing about this, but if it is true, then, like you said, they're just trying to make up for there being no T'Challa, and it just seems like a bit of a mess. I mean, they could pull it off because let's remember that T'Challa and Spider-Man made their debuts in Captain America: Civil War, and that film didn't feel crowded at all. But despite there being all these different characters, but no, it's just like without the leading man there, it's just.
Yeah. No, I agree about Civil War. I think that one felt more like a team up movie as opposed to a Captain America film. Like Winter Soldier was very like Steve Rogers focused, but Civil War was more so the tearing apart of the team. So it kind of worked well as a kind of a team up film. And no, it didn't feel crowded. You're right. With Black Panther essentially debuting in that. With the schedule for the film slate of Marvel being delayed, pretty much everything, right? Doctor Strange, the Marvels, obviously Black Panther 2. Does that make you feel like some sort of a backpedal on the recast thing is more likely now that it's delayed, or have you still had the feel the same kind of feelings towards it?
Honestly, I feel the same way. Like I feel like the minute they heard that Chadwick died, they should have just delayed this film from the beginning, just to give the cast more time to grieve. But I feel like with this delay, like this gives them more time to, just iron out some issues they have, because you remember, like Angela Bassett said, there's been like over several versions of the script, and they're still filming, and that's just like a major red flag to me. But as for recasting, like I feel like maybe this time gives them time to just work something in the script. Maybe they just assume T'Challa is dead, and that way it'll be easier to recast him for Black Panther 3s. As for just recasting him for this movie, like I know what E-Man said about Marvel just changes stuff up all the time on the fly, but as for recasting T'Challa for this movie, like nah, I don't feel like it's happening. Best we can hope for is that they just change the script to where T'Challa gets unambiguously killed off, to where the Wakandans just simply assume that he's dead. That way it'll be easier to bring him back for Black Panther 3. That's how I feel about it.
That works. I mean, I'm not in love with the idea of us having to utilize his death. It is a conundrum that I have every time I discuss this with someone, because I just don't understand why it has to be him dying. I get it. I grieve for Chadwick Boseman. Never met him, but I appreciated him as an actor. I appreciated him in his craft, right? But like, he's not the fictional character,
Exactly. Like Chadwick Boseman's death, like that's one of 4 celebrity deaths that I actually cried over. The other 3 were Robin Williams, Chester Bennington, and Kobe Bryant. But
yeah, R.I.P. Kobe.
It's like E-Man keeps saying, you don't need to merge real life tragedy with fictional storytelling. Like look at Fast and Furious handled Paul Walker's
Walker, yeah.
Yeah. There was no automatic, and I think that's the craziest comparison, because when that happened, there was no immediate, oh, they're gonna kill Brian, they're gonna kill him. And it's like that never became a discussion. It was, what are they going to do? How are they going to write him out? But no one immediately jumped to, how are they going to kill him? That was the immediate discussion with Black Panther. Like, how are they going to get him out of there? How are they going to remove him? The discussion almost immediately went there, and that's the most interesting thing about this dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, the standards are always different for Black characters. So.
Absolutely.
But the thing that we got to keep in mind is that with Paul Walker, he at least finished all his scenes before he passed. Like, Chadwick passed before he even got a chance to work on this movie, but it's still unfortunate that when he died, the immediate assumption was that, oh man, they might kill T'Challa in this movie.
Yeah.
It's like, again, I'm going to pair E-Man, but he said, like, everyone just seems to be getting comfortable with Black Death.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of us realize that either. Like, I didn't really... when Kevin Feige first announced, 4 months after Chadwick Boseman passed, that they weren't going to recast the character, I didn't immediately become, all right, recast T'Challa. Like, it didn't happen like that. Like, I felt off about it, and I didn't know why. You know, I didn't know why I was upset about it. And so then I'm reading up on it more. I'm digging into it more. And then I finally stumble upon, you know, E-Man. And he breaks it down, like, step by step. Like, why the need to remove this character, right, is such a problematic thing for us in our community, because we do not have characters that resemble, we do, but their stories are not told the same. They're not projected the same. They don't get the $1 billion budgets, so they don't get the TV shows and the animated stuff, and we don't get that, right? We don't have Superman and Batman and Spider-Man. That stuff, it sounds silly, but it plays into the psyche of young men. Right? It begins to help you form and shape your identity, you know, and how you value yourself, how you view yourself. And so, like, I think it does kind of trouble me that a lot of people don't see it that way. Even in people who are Black Panther fans, you find it, well, Black Panther MCU fans. Yeah. Always got to put that caveat on it. But you see it a lot where they just don't seem to grasp the concept of it. What do you think the long-term implications of, you know, what's going to happen in this Black Panther 2 film for the franchise, like, going forward, like, for the rest of Black Panther? Because I get the feeling that if they do what we think they're going to do, everything from this point out is going to be about T'Challa's death. It's going to be some spin-off plot line ranging from T'Challa's death.
You know, the long-term implications of the franchise is basically what I fear the most from it. Like, let's say they do what we think they're all going to do. They're going to kill T'Challa without even having plans to bring in a variant of him later on. Like, T'Challa is going to go the way of Hector Ayala. Like, you know, White Tiger? The first White Tiger was Hector Ayala, and he was the very first, but then, like, later on, Marvel killed him off for good, and then his little sister became the White Tiger from then on out. So, while I think that Marvel won't kill him off in the comics because they know they're going to get called out if they do that, but
I'm worried, man, because they keep delaying the comic. I am very worried.
Well, this recent delay, it was because of the paper shortage and along with COVID, but I feel like the implications of them killing him off long term, like, it might derail T'Challa's popularity. My hope for all this long term is that, like, Marvel just simply puts T'Challa on the shelf for now, just to give everyone time to process what happened for the Chadwick. But in the meantime, they can just beef T'Challa up in other mediums, like, you know, put him in cartoons, give him his own animated series, or heck, give him his own video game.
Yeah. I see you talking about the expansion pack, the Avengers expansion pack a lot on Twitter.
I'm not talking about expansion pack. I mean a legit
real game. Real game. Yeah.
He deserves better than just being DLC. But you know, like, beef T'Challa up in other mediums, just keep it as a way to keep the character relevant. And then when you feel like enough time has gone by, then recast him using the multiverse and then just go on from there.
I mean, that's the hope, man. I worry about them being able to pivot to that eventually, since they're putting so much emphasis on the passing of Chadwick, and really, just to be kind of frank about it, monetizing the situation or monetizing the grief. So it's going to kind of be hard then to pivot from that, you know, from, oh, boo-hoo, we're so sad about Chadwick, to, hey, here's the new Black Panther. So I do kind of worry about that, but I do ultimately hope that they end up, you know, remedying this. I don't think the franchise survives in the same way that it was projected to go, right? The first film was nominated for Best Picture. Yeah. Like, that's like top at Marvel, and people don't treat it that way. They don't treat Black Panther like the statistical aberration that it really is. black superhero film gets nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
It's unheard of. So the projection for that franchise was through the roof, and so now I worry about that without the main guy, without the guy.
I even talk about this in the article, like how people will react to a new Black Panther. Like literally, that can be a plot point in Black Panther 3. Like it can be about the variant T'Challa, like earning the trust of the Wakandans.
No, that is a good angle to go after with a variant. So one of the theories that I had that they could do before Kevin Feige blew my dreams to pieces was that they recast with an older version of T'Challa, right? Like not the just got into his wings, just finally sitting in the seat of the king, coming into his own, but a more seasoned guy. Because then a war-hardened pragmatist, the guy from the comic books. Because now you can get an older actor, right? Somebody that you're not going to tell me that Denzel Washington can't be T'Challa. I don't care who it is. And it doesn't have to be Denzel, but just a person whose acting skill is unimpeachable. Mm-hmm. When people start floating that whole thing about, the new actor's going to get killed. First of all, I think the people who think that way are a little off their rocker to even think about attacking people over movie characters.
It's like you said in one of your previous videos, like people who say that they're just projecting because they know that they're going to be the ones that are going to lose their shit if a new guy gets cast as T'Challa.
But that becomes even less likely if you're able to get an A-list, really an actor's actor to put in there. Do you think that they would go the route of just getting a brand new, just how they found Chadwick when he was just starting to bud? That kind of actor?
It can go either way. Like you can either get an up-and-coming actor or you can get an actor that's rather well-liked. I keep saying this on Twitter, Aldous Hodge is my number one choice for a T'Challa recast.
I like Aldous.
I mean, he's
cool.
Black Adam right now, though, right? That can't.
Is he going to be in Black Adam?
Yeah, he is going to be Hawkman, but I have a feeling that at least one of the members of the Justice Society might get clapped in that movie. So if that happens, the Hawkman, then hey, come on over to Marvel.
Yeah. Well, they just canceled The Trench, Yaya's movie, right? So he may be a free agent.
And some other choices I have are Damson Idris, old buddy from Snowfall.
Okay, Franklin.
He's good.
And Shavonte Rhodes.
Oh, that's Moonlight.
Yeah. Yep.
And then there's this other actor who's Nigerian called Sope Dirisu. He's really good. You got to check out some of his stuff. But yeah, man, there's plenty of other talented black actors that can do that role justice. So
Omar Sy, that's my dark horse. Omar Sy. He's on that series on Netflix, the French series Lupin. He actually played. Somebody brought it to my attention on Twitter. He was in X-Men: Days of Future Past. He was Bishop.
Yeah.
He was Bishop. He barely even spoke, so I didn't notice him. But tall guy, physically imposing. I just, they get another guy in there. I hope. You actually said something that kind of piqued my interest earlier when you were talking about whether or not Ryan Coogler continues on with the franchise. Do you think he stays on for the third film?
I honestly don't know because honestly, the production of this movie, it's just been emotionally draining for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And in the future, he's going to focus his efforts on producing. So, if we do get a Black Panther 3, I think it's going to be a minute. And I'm honestly unsure if Ryan Coogler wants to go forward with a Black Panther 3 after everything surrounding this movie.
Yeah. I feel the exact same. I don't see why he would want to. At this point, it kind of feels like the momentum behind it has soured, and what they're trying to do to get it back is only making it worse.
Yeah. And it seems like they're putting everything on him kind of in a scapegoat manner.
Oh yeah, we said that. Yeah, Feige got in front of that as soon as he possibly could. Well, this was Nate Moore and Ryan Coogler's decision, so I'm sure they have great things planned.
He's just putting them in a position so, like, if things don't work out, and he can just say, "Hey, look, we were just following their lead, all right?"
Yeah, absolutely. Because how does the white guy get to stand up and say things about the black IP? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, if they're going to allow it, though, I mean, they have a voice as well.
Yes.
You know, so I can't feel too sorry for them, because Nate Moore is the highest ranking black man at Disney, or at least in Marvel. So how sorry could I actually feel for you? How much slack can I give you?
The reason why I wrote that article detailing on how they can recast via multiverse, because I just have a feeling like when that first trailer drops and it confirms all of our fears that the recast T'Challa movement is gonna get the wind knocked out of its sails, which is Marvel is what they're banking on. And I wrote that article just to say, like, hey, yo, look, even if this happens, like, we're still in this, like, don't get the wind knocked out of your sails.
I appreciate you spending some time with us, John, man. I thank you. Great article. Is the blogspot.com? Yes. Okay. Yep. Definitely
in the description.
Definitely go check him out. Great writer, great article. We appreciate you taking the time out, man.
Hey! Where y'all going? Where y'all going?
Thanks for watching another Back of the Bus Squad episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Want to check out another episode related to this? Go ahead and click that video to the left.
And if you want to catch up on some of our other episodes, make sure you click the playlist below.